Welcome to Inspiring Business with your host, Mark Bullock, who is the co-founder of videosocials.net and of videointerviewpodcast.com. In every episode, Mark interviews business and organizational thought leaders who share their stories of how they inspire others by making a difference. You can find this show on videosocials.net and YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, and almost any podcast platform of your choosing.
Welcome. And today I'm very interested in having my guest, Jake Tlapek, because Jake is the Wizard of Marketing.
Hey, Mark, thanks for having me.
Terrific opening, Jake. How are you?
I'm good.
Wonderful. So you were referred by another friend of mine, another podcast guest that I had, Evan Messman, who's a great guy. He spoke very highly of you. I've had a chance to look at some of your online presence and whatnot, and you are certainly a dynamic guy. You're using shorts. You're on all kinds of social media. We'll get into that later on. You got some really interesting programs, and I always like to start my podcast with, what's your story? And I know that's something that's important to you, but how did you become the Wizard of Marketing?
Well, the short version is quite by accident, to be honest. My quick version of the story, though, here is I did not know what I wanted to be when I grew up. And I didn't know that for quite a long time. I tried a lot of different things. I served in the military for several years. I built cell towers. I worked at a logistics company doing trucking. I tried out a bunch of things. And one day I found myself in need of a job. I'm somewhat of a project manager at this point in my career, and applied for an opening at a company called Hearing Care Marketing. And they specialized in marketing for hearing aid businesses. Knew nothing about marketing, nothing about hearing aids. Just how to work an Excel spreadsheet, if you will. And so started that job and found myself managing a bunch of marketing people. So I had to learn it pretty darn quick. And what I found was I loved it. I love the multifacetedness of the marketing discipline. Right. And that job, ran its course in my career. And after that, I said, you know what? I'm going to self-style as a marketer. And I started applying for marketing positions, worked for a couple other companies over a few years, and finally realized that while I love marketing, I need to work for me. And so started my own business. Mm-hmm. That was about 5 years ago when I started my first agency, Brio Studio, which then was sold and purchased. And then I realized I didn't want to work for people again. Had to rediscover that one. And so I started the latest version of my agency, which is, of course, Wizard Marketing.
Awesome. So you mentioned a military background. That's something that we actually have in common. I was in the Coast Guard. What branch of service were you in?
Excellent. Yeah, I was in the Air Force for several years.
That was my number two choice, honestly. If it hadn't gone well with the Coast Guard, the Air Force was the only other service that I seriously considered. So, and I know a lot of Air Force guys. It's a phenomenal organization. Frankly.
Absolutely. I miss it and I don't miss it.
I think all of us can pretty much say that, we even if we really sunk our teeth into it, it's like, enough's enough after a while. So
absolutely.
But it was a pleasure to be to serve and thank you for your service.
Absolutely. And thank you for yours.
You're very welcome. So one of the topics that we had kind of touched on and wanted to get into a little bit is, and this is kind of important because I don't think a lot of people understand the distinction, and that is the difference between what is a brand versus a business.
Absolutely. I think you can distill it down pretty simply. Mm-hmm. But the fullness of the definition is much deeper than this. But ultimately the brand is the why behind the how of the business. That's how I always look at it. If you want to come at it from another approach, the brand is the rock, the pillar, the guidelines upon which your business interfaces with the world and its customers. Right. So every choice your business makes, whether you plan to or not, every choice your business makes is in alignment with your brand.
You're either creating the brand unconsciously or consciously.
Correct. So I'd rather do it consciously than unconsciously.
Right. Absolutely. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it, but really that comes into play for us in one of our services, which is video socials. And we had for years struggled with getting our clients. We've been marketing advisors for many years, and we're struggling with getting our clients to create content. Mm-hmm. And because they get into the perfectionism, et cetera. And so we invented this process called Phone Blogger, where we had a professional editor call them, interview them. They're the author. They create the content. We edit that into a blog article and put it on their website, put it on their social media. And we've been doing this before social media really even took off, and doing newsletters and all this kind of stuff. So fast forward a number of years, and entree video socials, because video is what is people are paying attention to online. It gives people the ability to connect with us, to get to know, like, and trust us, because it's the next best thing to being there. They always, it's beyond just audio. It's beyond, writing an eloquent article. It is the realness of a human being having a conversation with an audience. And that's something that is not natural. And I think I had mentioned to you before, the stats are there's 8 billion people on the planet, and only a million YouTube channels. Now you add all of the promotional or marketing videos that are being done, and all the people that are doing it, it's way less than 1% of the entire world population. And yet it is the thing that gets you in front of your prospects, gets you in front and helps you build your brand and build your business. But where to start? So we created video socials so that we do it in a social environment. We do it with each other. We do it, think of it as a mastermind group in which we're actually taking turns recording our videos, giving each other feedback, learning as we do. It's an experiential program. And it's free to come as a guest and check it out. So videosocials.net, just click the guest tab at the top of the screen for anybody that would like to do that. But with you, I want to look a little bit more at the strategy, right? So that's getting comfortable creating content, in the video sphere, right? So, but what you're doing is it's tactical. I can definitely tell from many of the shorts and stuff that you do, but the tactics behind it is really leads to my second question, which is, where should we be focusing our marketing efforts? Because there is a bazillion ways to market, and a bazillion ways and channels and processes that we could do, but where should we be focusing our effort?
Love that question. I might be a little old school for my age, but I like the classics. I like to look at what's worked, transcending beyond marketplace right now, or rather what's available on the market right now, and look at what historically works. And to your point that you said earlier, look at the most effective marketing methodologies over all time. We go back to ancient Greece, to the forum, and to public speaking. You go back to biblical times, and you have the same thing. The speakers are the ones who are influencing the world, who are driving the world. And then you have kind of adjacently aligned to that, the public marketplace, right? Mm-hmm. The callers and the criers saying, come to this booth and do this thing. And all of that comes back to one thing, which I think we lost for several years. The digital era completely evaporated the traditional marketing techniques in favor of this hot new thing. And we say hot new thing, the internet's been around for, nearly 35, 40 years now. And we threw away a lot of that classic technique in favor of this shiny new object, which was search, which was paid ads, which was all of these digital marketplaces. And we relied on our products to sell themselves. But if you go back and you look at what is the heart of marketing, and this is ultimately leading us back to why branding is so important, is that people do business with people.
Yep.
And like I said, the digital era, the kind of 1997 to now, or to the last couple years, we've put that away. We've put that mentality on the shelf. There are still great brands out there. I mean, look at the last 30 years. You've got Nike, you've got Apple, you've got some massive brands that have done fantastic by building an experience around their brand. And they're doing it right, and they're going to be timeless because of that. But the vast majority of companies have relied on their products and the positioning of those products to do all the heavy lifting. And we're walking away from that as a society. The younger generations are realizing that features and price do not mean that this is the right fit for me. And so we're making that return to people doing business with people. And because of that, it's so closely aligned to those traditional marketing avenues, which are speaking and being in front of people, which is why social media, while originally created to be an engagement platform for people to maintain their community, is now becoming the modern day marketplace, the modern day pulpit, if you will, for businesses. And the businesses have to adapt that too. This is the other part of this, which is because businesses have relied on their products and their services and their pricing for so long as their main selling point, they've forgotten how to be a part of people's lifestyles. They've completely removed their ability to connect with their audience. And so now branding, which was, go back 50 years, at the heart of advertising, right? Advertising comes out of branding, right? Every business understood that. Go watch Mad Men. Yes, I know it's television, but it does a very good job of showing you what it was like before the internet as far as marketing goes. And we lost that. We're coming back to it now. And the businesses that are succeeding are the ones that realize that and are consciously choosing their brand to be in front of the right kind of audience.
Man, are we in alignment? So many things that I could say, not the least of which, it's not just business. It is personal, right? The old saying, nothing personal is just business. It's the exact opposite because, and the whole concept of shall we just put it out there, public speaking, right? And some of this maybe text is not dead. We still, we're still doing a lot of that with people, but it's a form of communication. It is becoming a branded expert because you are an evangelist for your industry. Is the way that is the way that I look at it, right? So if you're not willing to be an evangelist for your industry, and you're not willing to be an evangelist for what it is that you do, that means that either one, you don't really believe it yourself. And the only way that you're going to stand out in a crowded marketplace is if you truly believe in what it is that you do is a better fit for at least some segment of the marketplace. And
absolutely.
And then you are able to communicate that passion, that belief, that interest, and You just basically outlined our entire company. That's what we do is help people take their passion, take that something that they really know a lot about, something that they are really have a desire to help others.
Mm-hmm.
They have a desire to have their products, their services make an impact, a positive impact on people, on individuals, and to be able to then market that.
Mm-hmm,
you know,
mm-hmm.
We've called it
Absolutely.
word of mouth marketing. It's been called content marketing, et cetera, et cetera. But the reality is, it is having a conversation with people in which you can, to tie back to the show, inspire others to want to do business with you because they're inspired by you. Right.
Absolutely. So one thing that I always look at when I'm thinking about branding and how to present a product to an audience is I think about my own circles and the things that I'm interested in. Okay. Personal hobby. I love Scotch. I'm a board gamer. I have a bunch of small hobbies. I'm actually a hobbyist. It's a terrible thing. Don't be a hobbyist, folks. Just pick one hobby and stick with it, okay? Don't go be a drone guy for a weekend, okay? Like me. You'll regret it. But I look at my circle of friends and how do we effectively market to each other? Oh, I played this board game the other day. It was fantastic. You would love it because I know you, right?
Mm-hmm.
We just went to this awesome restaurant. They had the best, panna cotta. I know you love panna cotta. You should go try this restaurant. We have to build that level of relationship with our buying audience. We don't want our marketing to be labeled as marketing. It should just be, this is part of my lifestyle. And there's a lot of great examples of this. Red Bull is a fantastic company when it comes to this concept of lifestyle branding or lifestyle marketing, right? Mm-hmm. Where they don't say, buy Red Bull drinks, go drink energy drinks. They don't have to do any of that. Instead, they show guys jumping out of space planes, doing parachuting from the, setting world records and then jumping goofy bikes into the water. Like they've got this whole lifestyle of excitement and engagement and get out there and live.
They have their own F1 racing team.
Exactly.
Yep.
And all of that comes back to the people that they want to reach, which are people who are adventurous, people who are high energy, high octane lifestyles, who want to get out there and live life to the fullest. And honestly, not like us, sit behind a screen and watch a ton of YouTube videos, right? That's a whole different group of people. So like they know exactly who they're going after and they don't have to say buy Red Bull. They just exist around the people that buy Red Bull and share with them. And then those people buy Red Bull.
Awesome. So what can we do? Because I really like to help people have a takeaway. What can we do daily to grow our businesses?
I would say, having served many companies in different industries with different products and services, the number one misstep that I see right now is not understanding why your audience should interact with your product. And this is no fault of creators and business owners because your focus, your effort and your energy exists in your product and service. You have invested in its development and you know why it has feature XYZ. You know exactly why A, B, and C are the top functions of your thing, whatever it is that you do. But the problem is that your why can misalign over time with the audience why. And so you have to really step back. And it's so hard when you're so close to it. You have to step back and reimagine your messaging from that audience, from their perspective, and say, it's not that this feature saves them time. It's that this feature saves them time so that they can blank. And that blank is why you set out to do your thing in the first place.
Yeah.
That blank, whatever that is, I want to, drink from coconuts on a beach. And so I built this company to pay me money so I could sit on a beach and drink from a coconut, right? Like that's the blank. You have to find out what that blank is for the audience. And there's lots of them. There's lots of blanks to fill in. And every time you can discover a blank and fill it in, you have a new marketing message that's way more impactful than this saves you time.
So my why is my mission statement in life. And like you, I've had numerous career changes, and I had the rug pulled out from underneath me. And I was in my 40s when I sat down and said, what do I want to be when I grow up? And so out of that is my mission statement, which is I make a difference for those who make a difference in the world. And that's really all that I'm interested in doing. The good news about that is that it is about them, not about me. Your why, your core why might be about you.
Absolutely.
And there's nothing wrong with that, but that's not what's going to sell your products or services.
Right.
Because other people are not going to care about whether or not you get to sit on the beach and drink out of a coconut. Okay.
Right.
They care about, I've got a problem I need to solve. I've got a need to do something, to grow something, to be something, to overcome something. How can you help me? That's all they care about.
Absolutely.
Right?
So one of the word pictures I use constantly with clients is I tell them to sell the sword, and they go, what do you mean by sell the sword? Too often businesses want your product to be the hero of the story. Okay. But guess who is the hero of every person's story? Themselves. All right. It is not your product. It is not you, the CEO of your amazing business. It is in fact the customer. They are the hero of the story. So if you can reframe your product to instead not be the hero, but simply to be the sword that they pick up to slay their dragon, you're not selling anymore. You're not selling. You're the wise old hermit that says, it's dangerous to go alone. Here, take this. And they have to make the decision at that point, like, do I actually want to slay this dragon? And that's a whole different conversation, obviously. Right. That's selling. But that's really the impetus of marketing, is getting people on board with their own vision of the future, and then just putting your product as the pathway between them and that vision.
So you're selling the prize, but you're supplying the sword.
Bingo. Yeah, exactly.
So in other words, they've got something they want to do, something they want to overcome, something they want to achieve. You may be providing the tool, the consultation, the legal services, the accounting services, the product, whatever it is that is the tool, the sword, to allow them to achieve what they're trying to achieve. Absolutely.
I want a big tax return. Okay. But I don't know how to do all this filing. Oh, well, here is, this service, or we're an accountant, we'll do that for you. So we'll get you that big return. Well, now the question is not, do I hire these guys? It's, do I want the big return? And if the answer is yes, well, then I have to hire these guys.
Right.
So
all the rage recently, because we could take any one of these topics and go on for days. I already know that. So we do have a limited amount of time though. But what's come up recently, and I have to admit, I'm skeptical. I'm excited at the same time, and it's AI and the use of AI in marketing. And so I'm going to give you my prejudice against AI, but understanding that I think that there is a tremendous opportunity at the same time. My prejudice is it is artificial intelligence. Everything that we do, everything that we coach our clients to do, everything that our members of our video club, video socials, everything that we're doing on how we approach marketing has to do with authenticity, has to do with authorship, not, artificial, right? So I see a way to use AI to develop drafts, as an example. And an example might be, and I'm asking you the question, and I'm giving you some of my answer to the question before I even let you talk. But this is something that we're very much looking at right now, and it's to say, when you and I have this conversation, we've created a 30-minute podcast. That's a marketing tool. It's a educational tool for our audiences, our prospective audiences, etc. But we both know that also needs to be chopped up. We need to take little parts of it and pieces of it and put it into reels and put it into shorts and have other posts about it, so that people that don't have the time to sit down and watch a 30-minute thing, get some benefit. So we can pull out tips and we can pull out tricks. That's a very manual process. We are in the process of authoring this piece of content. I think AI might be able to go in and say, all right, so take a look at that now and give me half a dozen tips, shorts, clips that can be used in other ways. We still need to go back and review that and say, did the AI get it right? But rather than having to have somebody go through and spend hours to create, half a dozen pieces that could be pulled off of this, so that it could be repurposed and be used in different marketing platforms and different social media platforms that don't allow, as an example, a 30-minute, video conversation. But what do you see? What do you see as far as an AI in marketing?
Well, I have kind of three opinions, and I'll go quickly through them on AI, specifically from a marketing perspective. Okay. So the first is that, and this might break me away from some other marketers and their mentality. I am of the opinion, if it works, do it. Right? Like, marketing is such a stressful and honestly difficult field because it's so multifaceted, that if you can find success in something, do that until there's no more success. I firmly believe that. Even if it would be considered, we're going to use an industry term here, black hat, if you've heard that term. Basically, it means, it's kind of scummy, but it works, right? I'm of the opinion, if it's black hat and it works and you're making money, you can do that. All right. So that might separate me from some other marketers. So the question we have to ask ourselves is, does AI have the ability to drive me marketing revenue better than other tools or time that I can spend? And the answer right now is yes. I'll just, shortcut to you that. Like, the answer is yes. There are a lot of things you can use AI for right now that are generating marketing success in the short term. And I say that very specifically because of the second thing I think about AI, which is AI is uncanny. And I use that word very specifically, uncanny. If you go back to the early 2000s, if you're a movie buff at all, you remember the term the uncanny valley. And this was the period of time where we had enough computer-generated CGI graphics to do it. But every time it happened, you knew that wasn't, like, good. It's not like Iron Man now when he puts his suit on and it comes in perfectly, or the Transformers movies now where they have 20,000 moving parts on the Transformer. Like, that was back when, man, Shrek was kind of rough. you know. Like I'm a big Star Wars fan, if you can't tell from my posters behind me. One of the things I always think of is there's a scene where Yoda fights Emperor Palpatine. Spoiler alert for those of you who haven't seen that. And the whole scene is just very tough to watch because it's so in that uncanny valley. AI has that problem, but it's not just with video. It's with everything it produces. If I put 20 articles in front of you and I say one of these was written by AI, the odds that you can pick it out are pretty high. Yep. It's pretty high. And so because of that, and this is the third thing I think about AI is still very much in its infancy. We want to think of AI as an F-16 fighter jet, okay? Mm-hmm. But the reality is, it's the Wright brothers plane. It's not even like, you know, a Spitfire from the 50s. Like it is very, very new technology that is very, very dumb. It's impressive because as humans, we can't computate as much data as it's taking in. Mm-hmm. But we have more complexity. We have more nuance. We have the ability to create connections between ideas that AI cannot. Now, on the reverse side, it can too, in a different way. It's more mathematical, whereas we're as humans more relational, right? Mm-hmm. AI can't make up memes.
Right.
AI can't make a meme, but it can tell you from your entire list of blood chart that you have some disease that no one's ever heard of, right? Like that's the flip side to it. So when it comes to AI, I think we just need to take a big grain of salt and go, okay, this is a fantastic tool that allows me to shortcut a lot of things and maybe produce things that will be effective for right now. But I have to be aware that AI does not understand my brand, which is the reason why. Mm-hmm. And so anything it produces is going to have that uncanny effect. And as such, I need to be aware of that and then treat it like the new, young baby product that it is.
So we agree and we disagree. And what and I don't happen to agree with the Black Cat, but I do agree with basically one area that I think it really can make a difference now, even in its infancy. And that is what I'm going to call draft. In other words, giving you ideas to then work with, right? So if you ask ChatGTP to write you a 5-minute to read article on XYZ topic, it'll produce it. Mm-hmm. I know Absolutely. That I'm going to be able to read it and tell that this is either one, A, not your brand, or B, not it's artificial, right?
Absolutely.
But if you then take what AI gives you and you edit it and you bring in your brand, you know, it may give you opportunities and options and perspectives that you may not have thought of on your own.
1,000% yes. The way that I talk about it internally with my team is that we treat AI like an unpaid intern. We can give it a lot of work, but it's not going to come back very good.
Right. Right. Perfect. Well, Jake, you know, we talked earlier that you've got a lot of presence online. I know that you focus on, or what you're focusing on right now is TikTok, and that's at the Wizard Marketing. And folks, we're going to have links to all of these in the descriptions, or in the, whether or not you're listening to this as a podcast or you're watching it on YouTube, etc. Your main website is thewizard.marketing. That's not a .com for those of us over a certain age. So thewizard.marketing. You have a free marketing support community, which is a Discord channel, fullvelocitymarketing.com. You have a personal profile on LinkedIn. We'll have a link, below for that. You have a LinkedIn business page, which is at the Wizard Marketing. You're on YouTube at the Wizard of Marketing, and you're also on Facebook, the Wizard Marketing. You have a couple of courses, and one of them is a 90-day marketing reset, building a marketing plan. Again, we'll have a link for that as well. Folks, you need to have a plan.
You got to have a plan.
Right. Winston Churchill, is famous for saying nothing more useless than a plan, nothing more valuable than the planning process. And there's some truth in that from the perspective of if your planning process is ongoing. In other words, your strategy is constantly in development, then the plan itself can be extremely valuable. The idea of sitting down in one fell swoop, designing a plan to move forward, and then never looking at it again for the next, X number of years, that plan is useless. But if you're working off of developing a strategy and you're thinking about it, the fact that you're thinking about it and you're having conversations with professionals such as yourself or others, and I know that that's part of your marketing community, is they're kind of feeding off of each other in brainstorming, and I'm a big fan of community marketing, right? Mm-hmm, being able to market, whether that be through networking, whether that be through masterminding, whether that be through having a video marketing club like we have with Video Socials, whether it's the kind of club that you've put together, we just get better ideas, and we get different perspectives when we are marketing with others, even if we're working on entirely different projects and entirely different businesses, right? Mm-hmm. So kudos to you for creating a marketing community. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I'll give a quick takeaway. This one's an easy one.
Okay.
Everybody already knows the best marketing advice giver they'll ever know. Every single person already knows this person. And that is your mother. Put your marketing in front of your mother and say, do you get this? If they don't understand it, you didn't get it right.
Well, there you go. My mom never understood what it was that I
did. You got to work on that marketing then.
It's been an absolute pleasure, Jake, and we could go on for quite a while. I really appreciate one, having met you, two, the fact that you've got a marketing community, and three, that you understand and get some of the core principles that I think that the marketing world did get away from, as the internet grew and as social media started taking over. And it's like, and AI is trying to do now, I think, is that they're trying to, the shortcut, whatever we can do to have something else, whether it be an overseas, newsletter, that's written, that's canned, and let's just distribute that instead of authoring our own stuff, or using AI as the be all and end all, and it's going to replace us. No, it can't replace us. Right?
Absolutely not. Yes.
It can contribute, but it can't replace. Mm-hmm. So, thank you. And I want to, I think we're going to get to be friends because we have a whole lot of synergy, and I definitely want to pick your brain on a couple of things outside of this, but really enjoyed having you today, Jake.
I appreciate you having me on. It's been a fantastic conversation, and I'm definitely looking forward to continuing it.
All right. Have a great one.
Take care.
You've been listening to Inspiring Business with your host, Mark Bullock. Your positive comments, likes, and most importantly, your sharing of this show with others is greatly appreciated. Don't forget to subscribe to the Inspiring Business Podcast on whatever platform you prefer. You can catch prior episodes on videosocials.net and on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, and all the major podcast platforms.